learn about federal procurement. I do have my team on board, Dina Williams and Shayla. If you all could also go ahead and put your information in the chat, your email address, your background, because to me, in this space, it's about team building and it's about collaboration. And this morning, it just hit me that I'm going to go to church on y'all today. I haven't been doing this in a while. So I want you all to get prepared, take notes, and I'm going to hear some amen from the church as I go through here and preach the gospel. Because to me, this is truly our pathway. Can I get someone to mute the phone? I'm hearing backgrounds on the 601. I just go ahead and mute the computer. All right. So what I say and what I believe and what I've seen right now is really a wave coming, and this is our time. And it's our time, and the momentum has to continue based on what this current administration has done. And specifically for those who look like us, they've done it through an executive order, despite all of the lawsuits and things that they are trying to do to try to cut out DEI, affirmative action. This administration had issued an executive order in 2023, specifically requesting that the agencies increase their spending awards to Black-owned companies. They understand that there is a gap in this here America. And what they're doing now is tracking it. So now they are really putting things into place. And if you think about how the administrations work, they really can't do anything in 4 years. And the government shifts every time, but this time it's kind of scary. And for me, I think everyone have to understand, what is your why? Why are you here? My why is based on, again, those whose shoulders we stand on, those who have sacrificed. And I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that we don't go back. They can only do so much on the inside, but if we're not prepared, then there's nothing that they can do. And so often, having played on both sides, you're here constantly. We put out these opportunities, these businesses, especially those in our communities, aren't applying. And for me, I understand both sides. They're not applying because they don't understand the process or the language or your own internal fears. So for me, the reason I created GPI is that we understand the process, understand what our fears are. We have to fight different battles than other communities, but we have always overcome. Just as I have seen my father, who was one of the first Black police officers in North Carolina, who sued the city, won, ran for city council, and now we have a park in his name. So for us, it's fighting for our future. And that was my sole purpose of creating GPI, because it's really not even about you guys that are online. It's about the future. It's about our grandchildren. It's about the children's children. It's about building generational wealth. It's about the sacrifices that my parents, your grandparents made for us to even be in this position. With that being said, I always like to start out on my background. I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I went to Washington, D.C., and my first company, the first job I had, I was hired by a company who was a part of this 8A program. By a show of hands, can you all tell me how many of you heard of the 8A program? And if not, we're going to go into details as we go along. And I ended up attaching myself to a contract that was a part of this contract, doing event planning. I went through 6 companies on this one contract, meaning every 3 years, this contract had to go to a new 8A company. And what I was seeing up in Washington, D.C., it was like, y'all are freed. I never seen that many Black-owned businesses. I had role models that was training me the game. So at 25, I knew that I was going to start my own business. I just didn't know how. So I studied the companies I went through, the ones that were successful, the ones that had challenges. And so in 1996, I started my first business. The first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract doing event planning. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract, and continued to grow the business where I had almost $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees, and really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I went from a project manager to running a multi-million-dollar company and didn't know how to protect myself. I had 2 business partners, one who felt like he could run his personal expenses through the business. For me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initials going down the pinstripe. I had my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her in the elevator and threatens her. Then I realized my role as a CEO. I had to end up terminating him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash, and I transferred $7 million of my contracts to another 8A firm. And what that did was teach me lessons. It put me on this pathway of I did not want anyone in my community to have to go through what I went through because they didn't know. So I volunteered 2 years as a SCORE counselor in the Washington, D.C. office. I'm very strategic. That office was set up beside SBA, and I created government workshop training classes then. That was in 2008. Ran out of money, applied for a position with SBA. I was hired in the Philadelphia district office, and my job there was to service the businesses once they got into this program. After 4 years in Philadelphia, I relocated here in 2012 to Atlanta. And here I service 40 firms in this program. And what I realized was no one really understood the game, and I'm going to go into the game shortly. But while I was there, they required that I become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece of the cake, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years. I understood SBA's rules and regulations. I studied the businesses that I serviced. I studied who was winning, who was losing, what was their formula. And by becoming certified as a contract specialist, it gave me the insight on what steps the government took to actually put that opportunity out for you to compete with. So to me, that completed the pie. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on how to market to the federal government And I can proudly say I've assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion in contract awards across various industries. Based on that first business, I self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy, and Run. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it's a lot of the lessons learned as I grew that first business. So, what are some of the small business challenges for businesses getting into this space? What I saw working at SBA is that I would host a workshop, or SBA would host a workshop. We would give out the information, and everyone leaves, and it's like great information, and no one's quite sure how to connect the dots. And it's the same thing with the government agencies. No one understands SBA's rules and regulations. And what I tell businesses is, unless you've worked on the inside of SBA, no one really understands their processes and what they're looking for. So, what are the challenges for businesses entering into this space? Understanding the government language, understanding the government processes, understanding how to determine what certifications do I qualify for. And once I determine that, well, what documentations will SBA look for as I apply to get approved into these programs? And also understanding all of these agencies operate in a silo. No one talks to each other. And so that's where the confusion began, because to register and to do business with SBA is to do business with the government is hosted by another agency. SBA has their own website. So no one's really talking to each other. So based on that, it helped me to create this program based on those lessons learned on my first business and what I saw on the inside of SBA. What I tell businesses is the first thing that we teach you is not to limit your business. The government is huge. There's no need to limit your business. My mentor, who sold his business for $27 million, he retired from the government, and I started marketing to him while I was in the government. And that was the first thing he said to me: why are you pigeonholing yourself? Because I was marketing my business as an event planning company. And as I looked at the companies I went through and I saw their business model, it made sense. I changed my business model to a management consulting firm, and I created divisions. I had an admin division, I had an IT division, I had a training division, I had a communications division. And once I created those divisions, I started getting contracts in those areas. So what everyone else will tell you is not to stay in your area and not you're not ready for the federal government. Running a business has nothing to do with your skill set. Once I won that first $1 million contract, I was no longer doing event planning. I had a staff. So the first thing we teach you in the first module is how to build out a business model that's not based on your skill set or your passion. Running a business has nothing to do with your skill set or passion. Can I get an amen from the church? Also, understanding collaboration is key. You cannot do this by yourself. SBA's programs, all of these contracts dictate you to collaborate. But our challenge is no one is teaching us how to collaborate. We've been taught to compete against each other. And in this space, it's too much money out here for us to compete with each other. if we learn to collectively pull all our resources together, and 24 people that's online, that's a contract. You get a piece of it, I get a piece of it, everybody gets a piece of it, and eventually everyone has a whole pie. That's how other communities operate. They collaborate. It's not about who gets ahead first. It's about who's coming together and let's help one get ahead and the other one brings the others along. That's how our communities have been destroyed, because those of us that got the education, we never went back. We never brought up our other brothers and sisters. And so we have a division within our community. They're not going to save us. We've got to save ourselves. Third, you must have the infrastructure in place. Does anybody know what I mean by infrastructure? You can unmute yourself and answer the question.
Processes, payroll, just the infrastructure in order to run the business.
Accountants.
Accounting, right.
Attorneys. I got sued. If anyone have current employees that are W-2, make sure you have employment, practice, liability insurance. Can someone write that in the chat? Employment, practice, liability insurance. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered the $125,000 insurance. Attorney fees, the $100,000 to buy the partner out, and any settlement if it occurred with the fraudulent lawsuit. Understand how to protect yourself. So when you look at the federal government operates from October 1st, their fiscal year, October 1st to September 30th. So what that means for you is there's a peak time and a downtime to market to the government. Right now, the peak time for bidding is occurring because this is the end of the fiscal year. This is the last quarter of the fiscal year. So what happens on October 1st is the new fiscal year starts, and these agencies will often operate on what they call the continuing resolution, meaning they have limited funding. So that's the best time that you want to try to get in front of those end users to start marketing to them why they don't have their money. Because right now, no one's trying to talk to you. They're trying to get rid of the money. We would call this time of the year in DC Christmas time, because we know that the agencies are just trying to get the money off of their desks, and they're buying just crazy stuff. And I saw it on the inside. They will be buying computers, chairs. They're just trying to spend up the money. So why federal contracts? Why federal contracts? Because every year, the government will have set-aside goals that are set by SBA. These set-aside goals includes 23% of contracts are set aside for small businesses, 5% if you're woman-owned, 5% if you're a small disadvantaged business, 5% for service disabled veteran-owned, and 3% for HUBZone businesses. So what does that mean for you? The more certifications that you have, the more you're helping the agency achieve their goals. As an example, if you are a small business and that agency awarded you a $100,000 contract, that agency now gets $100,000 credit towards their goals. you're a small business and you're a woman-owned small business. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goal. So the more certifications that you have, the more you're helping the agency achieve their goals. And what happens is each year, SBA publish a scorecard because it's just a goal. It's not a law. And the purpose of the scorecard is to embarrass the agencies. But it's also, for me, a marketing strategy. Look at the agencies who did not meet their goals. So if I'm in any one of these programs, then that might be an agency I target. But I also want you to look at this SDB, which is also the 8A program, the amount of awards that were achieved in the last fiscal year. And there was 76.2 billion awarded to this program. So there's a whole lot of money out there that many of us aren't aware of or even know how to begin with it or how to go after it. And so for me, what I realized when I left SBA was that, and when I left DC and went to Philadelphia, and when I came here to Atlanta, that no one's even heard of this program, just based on the number of businesses that are registered. And I just brought this down a couple of months ago. And I refuse to believe that there's no more than 46 businesses in the entire state of South Carolina that can qualify into this program. Same thing in North Carolina. In Pennsylvania, those numbers haven't grew since I left there. You're averaging 72 businesses in this program. Here in Georgia, it's 208. So again, I refuse to believe that there's no more than, actually it's 117 Black-owned businesses in the entire state of Georgia that can qualify into this program. And what I found was businesses from the DC, Virginia area, DMV area, they're coming here to win contracts, no competition. Up there, it's saturated. And I pulled up these numbers just so that you could get a visual of what I was seeing here in Georgia, and I'm seeing across the board. Can anyone see or read what you're seeing right now? What do you all see based on this chart? Anybody? You can unmute.
Looks like there's a lot of money on the table left for people to win these awards. 96%. I mean, it's not even cutting the pie.
Well, absolutely. So you see 96% of awards to small businesses alone was this amount. And I pulled it up until May. Then I drilled down to Georgia just to see how many small business awards without any certifications were awarded to small businesses in Georgia. Out of that, how many of them were Black-owned? And what was the dollar amount that they were getting? Then I looked at the 8A companies, and out of those, what was the dollars going to these 8A companies? And so when I look at these numbers, it's disheartening. It tells a story. And to me, it's all about the data and you understanding and creating a strategy. So that you could also see who's winning contracts here. So what I realized was, again, the companies coming from DMV and other states was winning these contracts because, again, people in outside of that DMV area was not winning. And then you could see the contracts that they were winning. Does this make any sense to everyone? I don't want to lose you along the line. Can I get an amen from the church? The church kind of quiet out there.
I'll say it. Amen.
Okay. Right here is one of our GPI students who has been listed in FedMine as one of the top 10 federal prime contractors. This is Miss Labrisha Dawson. Again, you can see her name of her company is Dawson Realty and Mortgage, but to the government, she's known as Dawson Management Consultant. I am so proud of her because she won a $1 billion contract, full and open, meaning she's not competing with any certifications. She got in, she studied, she learned. She is our legacy. The more of her that we can create, then I've done my job. Now, this is the website where everything is posted, sam.gov. I call it such a mess. It's still a mess. And what people will tell you is that you need to start locally. You're not ready to compete nationally on a federal level. That's not the truth, because the government have contracts that are specifically for small businesses, which is 250,000 and below. I call that the low-hanging fruit. They're just looking for your numbers. And here, as you see here, we have someone in healthcare doing home healthcare. Here you have no nursing home services. So the government buys everything. And you're not competing with as many people nationally as you would be doing federally. As an example, this was the opportunity that came out. This was a couple of months ago. I haven't updated, but the government's looking for high school banners. And they're looking for them to be placed in these schools. Do I need to know anything about high school banners, anyone?
No.
What would you do?
Find a contractor that makes banners.
Find me a vendor, interview. That's all you're doing for the government. You are the middleman. Same thing here for lodging space. You would think this is just for the hotel, but no, the government is looking for you to find hotel space in this area as a small business. The government also, I like HUD because every month HUD updates their forecasts. So people naturally think of HUD as it relates to housing. And yes, that's their mission. But when you look at federal contractors, you're their support system. The government depends, I would say 80% of their work is done by contractors. You're just the extra arm. When you look at HUD, and the reason I like them, because they update this every month. They're telling you what they're looking for. They're telling you the amount, and they're giving you the contact person. They're giving you the length of the contract, which gives you enough time to look for your vendors or understand or get more information before it's posted. Once it's posted, they can no longer talk to you. So when I look at this particular opportunity, it's a new contract, although it's full and open meaning anyone can compete for it. But at this point, I'm just trying to get a good price point. So I could reach out to Ms. Lawrence Wilson and ask her, how many plaques do you anticipate needing to have as part of this bid? This way, I'm ahead of the game. I've already received my quotes. And now I'm just watching for the bid to come out. These that are total small business, again, start getting dialogue with these individuals so that you can build a team around that opportunity. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Most definitely.
We're so used to doing stuff on our own and fearful of building a team. That's all you're doing. If I could just eliminate you thinking that you have to know everything about that contract. You don't have to know a thing. That's not your job as the CEO. So to begin in this space, the first thing you have to do is register in SAM. Again, I say it's such a mess. It's still a mess. But you can self-certify as a small business and as a small disadvantaged business. Although most agencies don't use the SDB component of it, because once you're in this program, you're automatically classified as a small disadvantaged business. These are the programs that require a formal certification, meaning you have to submit your application and be approved by SBA. The first program is the 8A program, which is a business development program. The HUBZone program is designed around communities. Women-owned is just what it is. Service disabled is just what it is as well. So for the 8A program, in order to qualify into this program, they're looking primarily at two areas. Whether you're socially and economically disadvantaged. You're in this program for 9 years because the program is designed to develop your business by allowing you to have non-competitive contracts up to $4.5 million, and they are called sole source contracts. Did the church hear that?
Yes, I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's great.
So you have 9 years access to these contracts, which means these contracts will never, ever be advertised anywhere. But what I saw on the inside was that everyone tells you, especially the resource partners, a lot of times they'll tell you, get registered in SAM, get your 8A. And I hear the agency say that, get your 8A, we have contracts waiting for you. But that's not the case. What happens is most people get that certification and waste 3 and 4 years in that, getting that program, getting in the program without receiving contracts. So some are in there for 9 years without receiving any contracts. It's because no one is teaching them the process. I had 40 businesses. Out of 40 businesses, only 4 or 5 was really winning contracts. We've got to do better because no one's going to develop your business for 9 years and give you access to $4.5 million contracts for 9 years. But I don't want you to be dependent on that. I want you to have game. I want you to be able to walk in that door, wait with contracts waiting for you. Don't be anxious to get in that program because I don't want you to be the same statistics. The HUBZone program, again, has no term limits to it. And it's based on where your business is located. And as long as 35% of your employees live in a HUBZone. For the 8A program, previously, before the lawsuit last year, as long as you were a member of any one of these ethnic groups, they automatically approved you in this component of the program. Since the lawsuit, you now have to write how you've been discriminated here in America, meaning you have to provide specific examples of things that you felt like was you've been discriminated against. And again, to me, all of this is subjective, but you all need to start thinking about incidents that you can document as part of your narrative. As an example, let's say you went to a bank for a line of credit. Over the phone, everything was good. You got to the bank and they denied you. You go to another bank, they approved it. So you have to be able to document what you've been discriminated against with. I had non-minorities in my portfolio. I had this Caucasian male who got in because he had eczema or psoriasis. He was able to document every time he went into the bank or in school how he was teased or bullied regarding his psoriasis. So you have to be, again, they've changed the game. They keep changing the game. But that's okay. I'm all right as long as we keep up with the game and know how the game is played. The other component of it is your economic net worth cannot exceed your adjusted net worth cannot exceed $850,000, minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business. If you have real estate property, that equity will be counted against you. Those of you with the real estate background, on your tax returns, any of your brokers or agents, you cannot use that agent broker's industry code. That's your North American Industry Classification Code. That's called NAICS code. Every industry will have a code associated with it. For this program, they do not allow brokers in the program. So what we teach you is how to create a business model that expands everything that you do behind that real estate title. You do social media, event plan, open houses, event planning. You do training. You do mailing out things. Those are direct mailing. The code that you should use is 541611. 541611. Anyone have any questions with what I just said? No questions? Also, those in the real estate or anyone else, please, you cannot have multiple entities. All of those entities, when I'm looking at applications and SBA's evaluating, are tied together. They are affiliated. So for this program, part of the qualifications require that you're working full-time under that entity. If you have another entity and you have revenues coming from multiple entities, SBA's viewpoint is, well, which master are you serving? Because if you have multiple entities with multiple revenue streams coming in, SBA is saying, well, I don't know which one you're committed to. If I'm going to give you access to $4.5 million contracts for 9 years, I need to make sure whatever entity in you are committed to this program. Any questions regarding that? Anybody?
I do have a question. So if you have multiple entities, is it possible that maybe the other entities that you have are being run by a third-party contractor? Do they consider that as like not part of your master entity if you were to take over that 4.5?
If anything that has your social security number attached to it, I got to associate. I have to look at it. So if it's like if you have an entity and you're holding all of your real estate, I don't have a problem with that because you're not, that's passive income. But if you have entities where you're actively getting a W-2 or pulling some type of revenue from it, then that's my challenge.
Okay.
Did I help you?
Yes.
I have a question. So, as a real estate agent, if I have a 1099, would what would I have to do? I don't understand.
Uh-huh.
I said I'm not quite sure. As a realtor, and I have a 1099, how am I affected? How would I need to?
Do you have an entity?
A corporation?
Yes.
No, but I can get one again. I just let it go.
Okay. You're just that you will have to have a corporation anyway. Okay. You still have to have an entity.
Okay.
Okay. Also, the game that we play, hear me now. Husband, married, family members, we always need to have a backup. When one graduates from the program, you need to have someone else already lined up. That's how the game is played. And what that does is allow you now 18 years. You all hearing me? Whatever you do on paper is completely different what you do behind the scenes. What I'm trying to create is this generational legacy. As an example, I have one of our clients who's getting ready to graduate, but her son was just got out of the was a veteran, got out 3 years ago. I said, get him incorporated, start subcontracting to him. Fast forward 3 years later, he's service disabled. He's been trained under her umbrella. She's very successful. Now he's in a position to get his own 8A company at 29 years old. The younger sister is 23. She just graduated from college and she saw what mama and brother was doing. It's like, oh, I want to know. She got in the program. So that's how we create this generational wealth and legacy. Am I making sense to the church this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the game. We got to bring our kids in earlier. They fooled us. They told us to go to college, get a job, and retire. No, I knew that wasn't right at 25. We can't control our own destiny working for someone else. HUBZone program. There's no term limit. You recertify every year. You also get what they call sole source contracting in this program as well. It's competitive. You're competing with people within that program. But the difference with this sole source as it relates to the 8A program, the HUBZone program, women program, veterans program requires what they call the rule of two. In order for them to do sole source contracts in those programs, they have to have at least 2 companies that are qualified to compete or perform on that contract. And they can sole source that contract to one of the 2. So again, you guys are in that position. Both of you, everybody submitted just to try to force it off of the street. You also get 10% what they call price evaluation preference, meaning anybody outside of the program, they get 10% added onto their costs. Your principal office must be in the HUBZone. 35% of your employees must live in a HUBZone. Not necessarily the same place as the office, just as long as that it is in a HUBZone. This is the HUBZone map. So if you click that, it'll take you to that map. You can put in your address. Once you put in the address, this is what comes up. It'll let you know whether or not wherever you're located is HUBZone. Now, you don't have to always think of the HUBZone as the hood zone. Because if you look at, this is where SBA's, where I used to work at the district office, is located. Downtown, right downtown, right? Why do you think this makes it a HUBZone? Anybody? You have the Hyatt, I mean, you have the Marriott, you have the Ritz. Why is that a hub zone?
Is it because of the lodging?
As a homeless shelter. The HUBZone program is about communities. There's a homeless shelter around the corner, or at least it used to be. So you look at, again, we're still segregated in America because you go past 5 points, right? And that's where integration begins, 5 points south. And I figured that out once I moved here. I used to stay in Sandy Springs. So understand where you're located and how you're leveraging each of these programs. This program is broken into 2 components: ED, economically disadvantaged. Right now, thank goodness, they are now merging certify in these programs into one database. Previously, for the 8A program, you had to go through one database. For the HUBZone program, you had to go through one database. I'm not sure if they merged that one yet, but for this program, you have one database and you are uploading the same information. So now, up until October 1st, this program has been on hold until they complete the merging of all the databases. This program is still relatively new. There's 3 ways that you can become certified. I'm somewhat of a control person. I want to do things myself because all the information that you give that third-party certifier, you still have to upload it into this database. And a lot of times I've worked with businesses that gone through third parties, and they don't have their information, not even their password. I want you to understand all aspects of your business. Okay, you also get sole source opportunities in this program as well. These are the qualifications. All of these programs require at least 51%. I don't like 50-50 business because SBA and government is looking at who's in charge, who's going to make that decision. Hear me now. You cannot lie to the government. I've had 8A firms. For example, I had a concrete company. That concrete company, the was from Vietnam, and she got approved in the 8A and woman-owned, but she was not managing that company. And I saw it on the tax returns. I let her fly one year, but the next year they whiting out the husband's name. No, you cannot lie to the government. You have to manage day to day. There's normal working hours. These are some of the things that they're looking for, but you can get around at normal working hours based on your industry. Janitorial, that's off hours. Your home, her home health services, that's off hours. So there's ways to get around it. For the veterans program, again, thank you guys for your service. VA determines your disability as long as you get, I think it's that D214, is that the form that you all get to determine your disability? Is it the DD?
We get it straight from the VA. We have VA letters that shows our disabilities and our level of disabilities and whether we're permanent and total.
Oh, well, if you just have 1%, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay. In this program, it's just transferred back over to SBA. It used to go through VA, but fortunately they brought all of VA people to SBA. They were grandfathering it in for a year, but this is where you go and get your veteran certification program. Again, all of this is through a checklist. It's I think your process is a little bit easier than everyone else's. The turnaround time for the veterans program, I've heard in 2 weeks that you all are getting approved. For the women's program, they've had a backlog for a year. 8A program, typically 90 days. that's why I don't want you to become certified in 8A until you have a game plan. It doesn't take that long to get into the 8A program. I also wanted to cover the breakdown of these certifications because people get so confused with all these E's and who needs what, and I don't really like the E's. I say go at the top and then come down. Because again, you think about it, these E's are for corporations or either local or state contracts. You're competing with a whole lot of people. So the MBEs are corporate certifications. When you're trying to market to Target, you're marketing Walmart, they are requiring these types of certifications. For federal, all of these are the federal certification. And again, all of this is registered in SAM. For state, it's DBEs. Most of them are certified through the Department of Transportation, unless you have a like SEPTA in Philadelphia, MARTA here in Atlanta. Then you may have your own local or county certifications. And again, most of them will have a cost to them, but these will not. Before I get into the actual program, I wanted to take you to some website. I'm very visual. What I see here, this right here, let's go here. This right here is the database where all of your tax dollars are tracked. I use this as a strategy. You have to understand your client. You have to understand what they buy, how much they spend. So anytime a contract is awarded, it's posted in this database. And you, as a citizen, you can see the contracts by states of what's coming in to your area. But I wanted to take you to this database because this is also where I look and show you how to identify contracts that the rest of the world won't see. So when part of our strategy and part of our program is helping you to leverage and create a sustainable business model, again, that has nothing to do with your skill set. When I go down here and I do a type of set aside, what's the first thing that someone sees? What's the first thing that you see?
Small business.
It ain't source. And I can do it by industry. But again, I help you, Laura, the program helps you create a strategy based on what they're spending. You don't want to go out there and waste all of this money waste your time on something that the government's not spending. I want the easiest pathway because, again, I'm still managing a business. You can see the industry code that I put in. And again, you can see in the last 3 years, these are sole source contracts. Our biggest challenge is not necessarily with the A, it's these, what they call Alaska Native corporations. They have a different process within the 8A program, meaning they can get up to $100 million in contracts without competing as a sole source. That's where our problem is, and whereas everybody else are only qualified for $4.5 million. That's a problem. And you can see by the name who's getting the big dollars. How many of these dollars could be fed in our community? That's a different story. I'm not going to get onto that, but this is a way for you to begin to see where the dollars are being spent and creating a strategy around that. Right here, I have one of my students who won a contract. On this contract, while she was actually in the program. This, as you can see, it was a couple of years ago, but just to give you an example, they just needed a hotel space for 3 days. She put her costs in at $104,000. The hotel cost was $48,000. She was in and out, so she made a $60,000 profit in 3 months. And what do y'all see here? Huh?
A number
Only
offered.
one person
No
bid on it.
competition.
One. We're not playing in it. This is without any 8A certifications. Over here was a landscaping. You see, she's here in Georgia. This was a 5-year contract. In Miami, right? Lawn maintenance. She's not doing the lawn. Place of performance in Florida. So this is why I'm trying to help you to get out of your comfort zone. The government buys everything. Again, sam.gov I don't like. This is a website that I do like. I'm gonna take you back through this. You can go through this and look for yourself. It feeds into sam.gov, but it's structured a little better, just so that you get a general idea of the number of opportunities, at least now until September, that are being posted every day. It's broken down by years, and it is a third party, but it's free. And then I like to say, I'm going shopping. What is the government buying? Every day I can go in here and see what types of buys that the government is buying. The source of salt is the government's first stage of procurement. That's part of what we teach you in the second module on how to respond to these types of notices. This is how you get in beforehand. What you'll see here is every alphabet has an industry associated with it. There's no need, again, to pigeonhole myself. I know generally which ones were the low-hanging fruit. They're going to probably be here, and that's mean 3 or 4 days to do some type of training. That's janitorial. They got landscaping. So you can see every day how many opportunities are being posted. I always like to go here because I know that's a catch-all. But down here are parts and equipment. So the government is buying everything. There's no need for me to pigeonhole myself. So they're looking for summer transportation internship program for diverse groups. Not that many. So just to give you a general idea, what's out there. There's no need to pigeonhole myself. I can find people with the skill set. I am the CEO. Can y'all repeat after me? I am the CEO.
I am the
I
CEO.
am the CEO.
I am the CEO.
Also, what I wanted to show you, how I structured this database was that my goal when I left SBA is to create a community. Just as our ancestors did. There's 2,500 people and almost 2,600 people in our database. The ancestors knew if I could just learn how to read and I could write, right?
Mhm.
At least we can get further. So that was my goal in creating what I created, meaning I can go to, if I'm here in Georgia and I see a contract in California, I should be able to reach out people who've gone through the program, understand why I'm reaching out, and I can ask them, do you know someone that's a vendor that's doing catering, or what are the best hotels? I don't have to pigeonhole myself. I can't run that in the ground enough. Am I making sense?
Yes.
We are a community, and we are more powerful collectively than we are by ourselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right, so let's get back to the business part. I have to have a minimum of 15 to start. It's an 18-week program. It's 6 weeks each. Each module is designed that you are walking away with something tangible. I get a lot of businesses will try to skip the business ready. No, because half of those who have been in business for years don't have their stuff in order. That's why everyone have to start at the same place, because you don't know what SBA is going to be looking for when you start applying for their programs. I've also provided templates that I took from the first business. And what you'll hear me say consistently is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the second module is about collaborating. It's coming up with a strategy. We put you into teams. You have to learn how to work together, because at this point, we are the government. It's important for me that you understand that this is real life. You may be working on a bid outside of this program and somebody ghosts you. You've got to learn how to manage it. What are you going to do? I've done that. I mean, I've had that happen to me over and over. People I'm depending on do not get me the information by the time I need. I have to make an executive decision. The contract ready module is the third module. That's where I provided you with templates, what a winning proposal looked like from my first business. I provided you with the business plan that you're going to need for the All Small Mentor Protege program. Because for me, that's how you're going to put your business on steroids. If you look at SBA's All Small Mentor Protege program, it allows a large business to come in and provide you with their resources. People are like, well, why would they want to come and mentor me? Because you have access to these programs that they can't. So it's a mutual agreement with SBA over them. I had one 8A firm I helped get into the program. He immediately created a joint venture. That first joint venture was $53 million. The second joint venture was the second award under the joint venture was $100 million. This is how we create generational wealth. So what I am doing today for all of you that have decided to join me today, I am going to offer you a early bird special. As you see, the regular price is $24.97, but if you purchase by tomorrow night, midnight, I'm giving you a $200 discount. On Monday, it's $100. I've also tried to make it as cost effective for everyone, as well as for the business and the people I have to pay, by offering a team member price. So if all of y'all were smart, y'all would be grabbing everybody's email together and see how you all can work together to come in as a team. That's $32.97. That second person regularly is $1,000. So my goal is to minimize and many as we can in the game, because as I said, the congressman and Madam President, they can do all that they can, but if we're not prepared for what I believe is coming for us, shame on us. It's time to get into this game. I have too many receipts for those that have applied it. I do not guarantee it. I know how hard it is to work for your money, but what I can tell you, for those who have applied, there's 75,200,000. I'm getting calls every day from those who started just where everyone is right now. And 3, 4 years later, they are ahead of the game. It's not easy. And if anybody tell you it is, then they're not telling you the truth. And I don't want you to just go ahead and jump into contracts. Know the rules of engagement. Getting the contracts was easy. But if you don't understand the rules, then you're already harming yourself. So it's more important for me that you understand the foundation that you're creating for your business than you do getting the contracts. It's understanding what you're getting into. The next cohort will start Tuesday, August 27th. Everything is held in the evening from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. You're going to meet with a live instructor. Everything is recorded. So even if you miss a week, you're able to go back and review. You also have office hours from Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. That's when all the cohorts come together. You have lab sessions on Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. to support those who are having challenges with their homework assignments. Every week, you're going to have a homework assignment, at least in the first module. The second module is teams assignment. And you're going to be graded. We're going to have midterms. We have business ready midterms and government ready midterms. It's important that you grasp the information. As I stated before, I created business plans so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the blueprint. Ms. Tansy Jones will be teaching this class. That was my former supervisor, one of them, while I was at SBA. She has 34 years servicing businesses in the 8A program. My whole goal in building a team, as we teach you, is that you bring on people that know more than you do. They may not have run a business, but believe me, they've seen enough over 34 years, and they know these programs better than I do. I also have a self-paced. The difference between the live and the self-paced, you're doing everything at your own time, and you are not doing a team deliverable. Everything is pre-recorded. You still have access to the office hours and the lab sessions. These are some of the tangible deliverables that you're going to be required to complete in that first module, the team deliverables in the second, and then I provide you with sample RFPs. And that's my story. That's it. So I'd like to thank you all. I know I went over. Like to get some takeaways. I know, Ms. Johnson, you have your hand raised. Ms. Johnson?
Like I said, it's really good. I appreciate you sharing. I have a question. So if you want to do self-paced, would you still be able to sign up for a team with someone, or would you have to sign up for yourself?
No, ma'am. That side of it doesn't allow you to come in with the live groups, because by the second module, everybody is bonded and like, what in the world have I got myself into? But the way the program is set up is building blocks. It's step by step. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, can I
This
get,
was awesome. Thank you very much.
what was your
and-
takeaway?
My takeaway is that I'm ready.
Mhm.
So the thing is that I need to just now pare down and see how I'm going to, I guess, put my mindset is a change of mindset. And I've spoken to you several times and been my inspiration to kind of jump out there and say, look, I can do this. I can do this.
And
And so
that's,
thank you very much.
thank you, and that's the biggest challenge that everyone have, is our fear. Because what's happening in the first module, I'm having to deprogram everyone. Because we've been trained, what have we been trained to do, everyone?
Mm.
Go to school, get a skill set, get a job. Your degrees is to go work for someone, right? I have people who have received MBAs. They're not teaching them how to run a business. They're teaching them how to work for a corporation. So what we're teaching you is real. Don't promise anything, but I can promise you put the work in. It's on you. Okay? Let me hear some from some of my brothers. What did you all take away? Come on, my brothers. The women are always taking the lead here.
He's only one guy on the plane.
Huh? Mr. Adamson. All right, everybody shy now.
Sorry, can you hear me, Mr. Paul?
Yes, Eddie, come on with it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. We're waiting and ready.
Yeah, so my takeaway is, I mean, like you said, the blueprint is there. You know, all we have to do is be committed, follow the process, and it seems that, you know, success is on the other side of the door.
It is. Angela,
I
you
do
have
have a question for you. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Paul.
go ahead.
I have multiple businesses. So I kind of went out a little too far, got a little excited when I heard you up in Greenville. So I created another business, but I have my real estate business. So what do I do? Obviously, I can only have one, is what I took away from the
You
discussion
can
today.
merge it into one. You're going to see what's going to be most cost effective and which one you're generating the revenue under, because we don't want to mess that up. If it's still relatively new, I would just dissolve it because you're not really doing any activity under it.
Gotcha. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
All right, Miss Angela.
Yes, ma'am. My question is, so if me and my husband come in as a team, we pay the team price. Are we setting up different corporations? I'll have a corporation and then he'll have a corporation?
Yes. Whatever you do behind doors, it's on you, but on paper, y'all separate. Y'all still support each other.
So the thing is, I already have a business and he's already on that paperwork. So
Well,
how does that work?
He needs to sell you his shares for $1 or whatever.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to know.
Not divorcing on paper.
Roger that. Got it. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I have one of my old students in there, Kim. I'm gonna put you on blast. Just can you share with them what your experience has been? Because you're out there, you're doing it, and you're trying to apply. Kimberly, I'm not sure. Yes. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm getting ready to everything off. I was in another room, but anyway, I had my two cousins come this morning Because I know this is the way, this is the change that everybody is looking for, as far as getting comfortable with your finances and being able to pass it on, just as Ms. Paula said. Now, I tell everyone, my delay is that I just retired from the federal government. So now I am getting into it, and I'm so excited to finally be able to do this. Because I took the course back in 2016, 2017, and I've been hanging on, listening every week, trying to bring other people in. And I know these people that Paula have mentioned to you. And if you just work and focus, and it's not easy, this will change your life. It's worth every dime. And that's all I have to say.
And it's a tax write-off. Hello, everyone. It's a tax write-off. It's in a business. And that's why, and those of you who may not have owned a business, don't get intimidated by those who are running a business or have had time, because everyone has to start at the same place. And those who have run a business, you have to look at this as a startup, just as you started that first business. You have to invest the same amount of time and commitment to understanding this game. But I can tell you, there's nobody else out there that's going to give you access to $4.5 million in contracts with no award. I mean, with no competition. That's just never heard. That's designed to build your business. Well, with that being said, Dina or Shayla, you all have anything that you want to share before I close out?
Hello, everyone again. Be sure to go to the chat and get the information before we close out. There's a flyer. Our website is simply gpiwin.com. Go on the website, check out all of the resources, the upcoming events and things like that. And shout out to all of the Philly folks. Yay, Philly.
All right. Y'all have a good one. And hope you join the wave, because the wave is coming. Go. We're not going back, right? We're not going back. Are y'all with us? Are y'all with her?
Yes, and sure, I will reach out to you. I got your phone number, so I'll call you after this webinar.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
And I have a question. Where do you get the discounters or code for the discount?
It's already on the website. It's going to be up until tomorrow for the 200 off. And Monday night, the 100 off. Then it goes back to regular price on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll see you in class, Miss Angela.
All right. We're not going back, y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you.